Greetings, lovely people. France 24 is in trouble. France 24, is a French media outlet. And we can practically say that chairman is controlling things from there. They have one attitude, which we all know. These people, they never tell the right side of the story when it comes to Africa. However, they can put it out there so that there will be conflict. However, they can put it out there so that the narrative out there so that the people, the citizens can revolt against their government if they don't like the government. Guys, are you aware that some of our politicians, the democratic leaders, are you aware that these people, some of them have been paying money mentally to these media houses to keep their images white? The reason why when they are doing bad things on the Western media, they are still clean. Ibrahim Traore have just decided to let everything out this time. And then he pulled it out and said that he has proof, and he challenged the Western media. He explained and pointed out how these media houses, these ones, try to bribe him and Assimi Goïta and the revolutionaries. He added the date and everything to it. Currently, as we are speaking, France 24 is solidly in trouble in Ivory Coast. That is actually the main topic, but we are going to blend it with what Ibrahim Traore said. How they approach him, he made everything clear. The channel through which they approach him, he mentioned it. You don't worry, I'm going to play that video for you. He spoke in French as usual, so I translated it so you have nothing to fear. Recently, the update is coming from Ivory Coast that Ivory Coast is asking the French troops to vamoose, and we are all deliberating on the issue if it is real or not. Then Bodo, these people, they started anti-narrative against the government. One way or the other, I don't totally agree with the government in some angles where they are accusing France 24, and I don't agree with France 24 also, but with balanced view, I'm seeing where the whole thing is coming from. France 24 just received a yellow card from the Ivorian authority. The Ivory Coast Media Authority won France 24 over bias in immigration reports. The High Authority for Audiovisual Communication, abbreviated HACA, has won the French television France 24 over a report that they aired on March 11, 2025 regarding illegal immigration in the country, and they accuse the channel of bias and unbalanced reporting, misrepresenting Ivory Coast economic reality, and failing to provide a fair perspective to the real issue at hand. Many of you who watch my platform closely, you will know that I've been saying it in most of my videos, that whenever, assuming example, there is terrorism in a country, especially in Africa, and let's say terrorists have gone to attack a particular village somewhere and 100 people are dead, this platform will tell you 1,000 people die. If 200 people are displaced, they will tell you 2 million people are displaced. It has been the case, not this France 24 alone. It has been the case on and on, even in the Sahel. But these people, they don't publish what exactly is on the ground. What they publish is to create exaggeration and make the whole thing look in a way to put tension, to make it look like there is so much tension there. Even when they are reporting on our economic crisis, they exaggerate some of the things. This warning by Ivory Coast to France 24 is a part of the growing trend of African countries and beyond challenging France 24's credibility due to this repeated accusation of media bias, misinformation, and selective reporting. Over the years, we saw the government of Mali, Burkina Faso, Algeria, Rwanda, and even Rwanda have taken action against these people. And all of these countries from Mali all the way to Algeria accusing it of manipulative narrative and unfair portrayal of national affairs. This only happen when they don't like you. We can start all the way from Gaddafi, coming down to Patrice Lumumba, all the way to this is the same disinformation, misinformation, misrepresentation, and false narrative used against Kwame Nkrumah. Same thing was used against Thomas Sankara. We can count it. That is why many of us on the continent of Africa, we have lost hope and trust in them. We don't listen to them these days again because of this attitude. Just because the Ivory Coast government is seen rejecting the French influence, then anti-narrative is now in the cooking. This controversy in Ivory Coast between the Ivory Coast Communication Authority, and France 24. It erupted following France 24's report. They reported a broadcast, and they titled the broadcast "The Taboo of Irregular Immigration." And in the broadcast, the journalist stated that Ivory Coast economic growth benefit only small elite, leaving the country deeply divided between a wealthy upper class and struggling lower class. So, and with no significant middle class. The report also suggested that 80% of the country's economy is informal. So what they're trying to say is that in Ivory Coast, we have only the rich and the poor. There's no middle class. But guys, do you know that these people, they always like to put that gap between the rich and the poor thing, just to put tension among us. When you go to China, I study China very well, and I realized that they have been able to bridge that gap between the rich and the poor. That thing, it was a Western culture to put gap between the rich and the poor. In China, no matter how rich you are, nobody care about. Everybody is living their life. Let me show you how their culture work. If this is assuming made by a Western company, and this is selling at $50,000, assuming this is selling at $50,000, and it was made by a Western company, the same thing should not be made in lower version to someone who is holding, let's say, $10,000. No. Your must be different in a way that when people look at it, they should know that, oh, your own is very different, and then you are living a poor life. To put a difference between the poor and the rich, and they will make a middle class one which will also look different. So when the rich, the poor, and the middle class stand holding these, all of them, when you look at it, you know which one is richer than which. They have that culture. But when China came into the system, if you go to China and this one looking at it is $50,000, they will produce the same thing with lower material, but it will look the same thing for $10,000, and they will produce the same thing with the same look for maybe the middle class also to have it. So when you have the middle class, the poor person, and the rich person holding this same thing, you don't know whose own is more advanced. China was able to bridge that gap. So this is a Western, culture to put the gap between the rich, the middle class, the lower class thing. So this report was strongly condemned by HACA, the Communication Authority of Ivory Coast. They refuted the claim, calling the claim grossly inaccurate. The authority argued that the existence of middle class in Ivory Coast is evident. It is not only rich and poor, no, there is middle class. And they said that the 80% figure regarding the informal economy is exaggerated and misleading. I believe we have Ivory Coast people in the comment. They understand the economy better, and they know the condition in their country. We want to meet them in the comment. Let them give us detail and confirm. Okay, because me, I don't trust the Western media though, but I know that somehow anyhow there is economic crisis and things that we can talk about in Ivory Coast. But when the government is saying that they're exaggerating it, let the citizens, if they're in the comment section, they should help us, because this is not the first time. This is a pattern of accusation against France 24. The controversy in Côte d'Ivoire is just one in a series of clashes between France 24 and various governments across Africa and beyond. For example, in Mali, France 24 was officially suspended in 2022 after the military government accused the channel of broadcasting false allegations about human rights violation by Malian soldiers. The authority claimed the channel was deliberately spreading misleading reports that tarnished the country's image. This is what happened when they don't like you. And Emmanuel Macron is involved because the agenda is to reclaim, create misinformation, making sure that the people stand against their nation just like they have been doing. We have gone through that. History have proven that this is what they do. This is part of their instrument in waging war. Similarly, in Burkina Faso, the government shut down the channel in 2023, arguing that the channel coverage of security issues undermined national stability. The officials of Burkina Faso accused France 24 of favoring narrative that benefited insurgents rather than reflecting the reality on ground. That is a fact. When you go to BBC. Go and check BBC. Just go and check how they report issues regarding terrorism in the Sahel. You feel like they are sympathizing for the people, for these people. Or you are seeing on your screen. They always sympathize with these people in their narrative. You see, Africa, we need to rewrite even our history, because these same people are writing our history for us. Our history is taught in school to our children. It's according to these people. It's misleading. So listen to what Captain Ibrahim Traore said. He said, if I have one regret in my life, it is that at one point in my past, I spent hours in the morning, at noon, and in the evening listening to radio stations like RFE or RFI, France 24 or whatever else. And today I think you are well aware that they are very skilled at manipulating informations, making noise all around. And listen carefully, this same media outlet, I say it today, especially Jeune Afrique, made great effort to get us around 2022 to 2023 thereabout. They use various channels to approach us, trying to make us pay them so that they can clean up our image through publication of good narrative, as they put it. We refuse. They cannot deny what I'm saying, because we have proof. They sent people. That's how they operate. And many head of state in Africa fall into their trap. And these leaders end up losing money every month just to have articles published to whitewash their images. No. This is dangerous, especially from an economic standpoint. This is what Ibrahim Traore is saying. So it's telling us how these people are operating around our leaders. So part of our tax money is going to these people to whitewash the image of our leaders. So when our leaders disagree with them, then they change the contract. Same thing they are doing in Ivory Coast right now. You see, Africa, we need to rewrite even our history, because these same people are writing our history for us. Our history is taught in school to our children. It's according to these people. It is high time we start telling our own story. We start reporting our own issue the way it is from our side. In Algeria, their licenses were revoked. In 2021, Algeria withdrew France 24's operating license, accusing the channel of blatant hostility towards Algeria. The authority criticized the network's coverage of anti-government protests as one-sided and misleading. And also, according to Algerian officials, France 24 repeatedly amplified opposition voices while ignoring government response. That is how they do it. You people must be fighting. They want to turn everywhere to jungle, where we'll be fighting each other every day. France 24 accused Rwanda of genocide. Rwanda has also expressed strong discontent with France 24. The Rwanda government accused the channel of downplaying the severity of the 1994 genocide and spreading misinformation about the country's post-genocide recovery. Even this, our chairman here, you know him, he blocked them. Outside Africa, chairman blocked France 24 in 2022. This is a channel that have repeatedly been accused of these things, repeatedly. So given the repeated accusations and recent development in Côte d'Ivoire, the authority has issued a warning to France 24, urging that they should adhere to professionalism or professional journalistic standard and ensure that the reports are accurate and balanced. If not, they will follow their military out of the country. Very simple. They made it clear to them that this one is just yellow card. The next time they will revisit them on this repeated accusation or this repeated false narrative against them, they will just vamoose them out of the country. Very simple. They will ban them. The Sahel is working of handling their own narrative and broadcasting it their own way that will benefit the country for them. Because when you leave the issue happening in the Sahel in the hands of these people, they will tell you the Sahel is a red zone, a place you can't go there. There is even a documentary on BBC right now, you can check it. It's about how they are portraying the Sahel to be a dangerous zone. They put it like a question form. The title is like, is the Sahel the most dangerous place? And then when you go in, they are telling you that that is a dangerous place. Do you know why they put it like that? So that the people will not come to visit or invest in the country. People will not come for tourism activities, because the place is a red zone according to the Western media. So if the place is a red zone, then nobody should go there. The moment they declare that place a red zone and they are there, that place will be red zone forever. It will never become a blue zone ever, or a green zone, until a military government will take over, like what Ibrahim Traore, Assimi Goïta, General Tiani, they are doing right now. So lovely people, Be very careful of watching and listening to these people.